Oh my god!
And just rip that sucker right off. Alright, I usually mumble and people complain about it, so I'm going to talk in a semi-game show host-ish voice right now to make sure everybody knows what I'm saying. We got this truck home last 4 Sundays ago, which means it's been sitting here for exactly 3 weeks and 1 day. Last Harvester Homecoming 2023, Jeff Ismail approached Brody and asked him if he would be interested in buying another one of the 17 rare Travelettes. And he knew his mom would kill him, and I would pretend to be super disappointed. But he said yes, and he saved up the money, and then Jeff brought this truck down from California this season, Harvester Homecoming 2024. When the truck showed up on Thursday at Harvester Homecoming, it was missing a carburetor, it was missing a radiator, it was missing one spark plug for some reason. We have kind of put 2 and 2 together, and we figured out a few things about this truck. The first thing we figured out was that it has a rebuild tag on it. And even though it is a 1958, this truck had a rebuilt engine in 1960, which is kind of weird, that in only 2 years it needed a rebuild. We believe that this truck was purchased in Salt Lake City, Utah, and this engine was also rebuilt in Salt Lake City, Utah. This company that rebuilt this engine still exists, and Brody contacted them, and they do not rebuild engines anymore, but they are still a machine shop, and it's owned by, like, the nephew or
Doug Love.
The nephew or
the company was called Coepsel and Love, and then it became and now it's called Love Machine.
So anyway, they thought it was cool, and they tried to find some stuff about it, but they didn't have documentation that went back that far. But the company does still exist, and they thought it was pretty cool. The next thing we tried to do is figure out whether or not this truck was a 29 pounds water district truck. Brody contacted them. They also still exist. They never had Travelettes. They only had 2-door trucks. So now we know that this entire front clip is from a different vehicle, and somebody was in the process of putting this back together with less rusty front end parts. There's a lot of rust in this truck. So we can only think that maybe a person was putting this truck together. It ended up in a junkyard. Maybe in the junkyard, parts got pulled. Or maybe those parts are still in the guy's garage and he had it all stashed away, ready to put back together again, but never got to it, and something happened to him and ended up in a junkyard, and Jeff ended up getting it. We can tell by newspapers in the cab that were used to mask things for red paint that it hasn't been touched since in over 20 years. So, in the condition that it was when we got it, with no radiator, and an open thermostat hole, and an open intake hole because there was no carburetor, and one spark plug missing, and loose valve cover screws, we figured we better pull the valve cover off. We pulled the valve cover off. It was actually scratch clean as a whistle inside, like it hadn't been run yet. So we figured that somebody took the valve cover off, painted it black, because then they also painted the engine block red. The spark plugs that were in here, 5 out of 6, were red, had red paint on it. So somebody painted the block red, they painted the valve cover black, they put it back on, but they never got to put a new gasket on it or tighten it down yet. So what we did was we pulled the head, gave it a dingle ball hone, cleaned everything up. It has we didn't actually put a compression tester on it. We could have. I don't know why we didn't. We just didn't think about it, I guess. But all the pistons are clean as a whistle. It rotates really well. We put new pistons in and new gaskets from the block up. We got in 3 weeks, Brody procured a used B-series radiator that we believe was probably from a V8. We got local, as close as we could, right away radiator hoses. They're not the best fit, but they will not collapse, and we put springs in them to make sure that they don't collapse, and maybe they'll balloon up a little bit and look better later, but right now they kind of aren't the best, and that's fine because we're just trying to make sure that this thing runs and moves under its own power. So in the cab was an entire wiring harness from a different vehicle, and we did not know why, but once we got to looking in here, behind this dash was about 20 wires that were all fused together in one big meatball of a electrical fire. So we had to put that harness in. So we replaced the harness and spliced on everything the best we could to do it factory. Brody said that he will build this truck back to factory specs. This truck used to be Gulf green, as indicated by down here. So somebody was painting it red. It has a white front end from a different vehicle, but we're going to say that it's going to be original Gulf green, and that all the original front sheet metal is really from an A120 door. So we feel pretty good about it being restored to original with the split ring rims and the big six and the drums all the way around and all that stuff. That's the goal. Other than that, what else did we do? We found a carburetor within the last 3 weeks, and we got that on. We just adjusted the flow today because it kept overflowing. We have not tried to start this truck yet. You're going to see that happen for the first time. What we did do is put the new harness in, make sure everything is where it's supposed to be, and we turned the key without gas to make sure that the starter spins the engine, and it did. Then we made sure that we don't have on this engine for some reason a mechanical fuel pump. So it will have a mechanical fuel pump someday, but right now we put an electric one on, and we made sure that we have fuel delivery to the carburetor by plugging it in, and it overflowed a few times. We adjusted the float a few times. We feel pretty good about that. So now we know that it has gas. We know that the starter spins when the key is turned. We have not done a single thing underneath the distributor cap. We did replace the coil, we did put in new plugs, we did put in new wires. We have a used carburetor that seems to have been rebuilt already, so all we did was adjust the float in that. So we have everything we need right now, we believe, to turn the key and see this thing fire off and run for the first time in over 20 years. Alright, now it's Brody's turn. He's plugging in the fuse holder that we put on the battery to make the fuel pump pump. Here it is. He's got it. Now, he is going to get in, and you guys are either going to witness the first start in over 20 years, or you're not. This is the first time. We're pretty excited about it. He is now sitting on a card table chair with his head on the roof, and he's getting ready to try this thing for the first time in over 20 years. Pump it. Pump the gas. Come on, baby. Stop. Let me try to choke it by hand. This is choke. I'm unchoking it actually. Go ahead. Choking it. Unchoking it. Alright, hold on. Well, it did not fire right up. The only thing I could think of is that we made the float too soon and it's starving for gas. Try again. Alright, hold it. Okay, you witnessed the first time we turned the key and it did not start, and that was because Brody didn't wire the coil correctly, so we think we wired it. Now, I'm going to turn on the fuel pump again. But it doesn't start this time. Then we need to check a bunch of stuff. Okay, we have fuel pump. We hope. Hold on, I didn't plug that spark plug back in yet.
It's got a miss.
Alright, try it.
Bring the phone.
Stop. We're killing the battery. Well, it turns out Brody did have the distributor wired correctly, but I checked the gap on the points and they were closed and not sparking, and also the screw that tightens them down is stripped. So it's going to happen over and over again, but I did get some gappage and we do have sparkage in the sparkulators. So this is probably key turn 4.
I don't know.
And we think we got fuel. I'm gonna plug it back in, even though we got a float bowl that's full, hopefully. We got about a dead battery now. I've had it on the charger for a minute, but we know we got spark. We should have fuel. And here we go again. 4th key turn in 20 something years. Go. We need power. We need more battery power. Alright, we didn't have a lot of battery charge, and this is not a huge charger. Let's see if this does anything. Go ahead. Yeah, we need more power. Alright, we just put in a known good condenser, and now we have spark. Let's see what happens. We're jumping it, the battery's dead. Losing faith. Go ahead. Stop. Alright, I fixed the gap a little bit. Try it. Give me a puff. I know, but we got a float bowl full. Stop. We keep playing with the points and filing the points and messing all around. We're trying again. Here we go. The only couple things we hadn't messed with was the distributor, and we haven't messed with the voltage regulator, but they both look really clean inside, so we were hoping for the best on that. I just don't, we can't get the thing to spark yet. Still playing with gap. Go ahead. Stop. I just poured fuel down the carb. Try it.
Oh my God.
We got no gas. I bent the float too much.
Well, I turned the key off right away.
Why?
Turn the fuel off.
Why'd you do that? Because you were freaking out? Why?
Turn the key off right away.
Why?
Because there's no fuel going to it.
Because I don't think there's fuel going to it anyway. Is what I'm saying. I bent the float too much probably.
Alright,
The only reason I just poured gas in the carburetor.
I know.
So I'm gonna pour gas in the carburetor again.
Alright, well this time I'll try to leave it running.
Okay, I just poured it in. Start it. Oh, I'm getting blasted with shit. It was on full choke because there's no cable here.
Yeah. Let's try it again.
I'm gonna open the choke. Pouring gas in the nozzle right now. Now I'm gonna hold the choke open. Go. It's a runner. We need to get more gas in it. We need to fix the float and then it'll run.
Alright,
I wasn't on recording. I don't know if I recorded that.
are you serious?
I might have missed it, but we just started this truck. Don't know where that smoke's coming from. Trying to adjust the idle right now.
Yeah, why is it smoking?
Where is that smoke coming from?
I think it's coming from the exhaust.
Alright, come back over here.
Maybe it's burning stuff that's
Shine
in
the
the
light right
exhaust.
there.
I cannot believe you weren't recording. Let me look at the exhaust. I want to What's getting thrown at us? Water?
Feels like water. Maybe it's just rock.
Something's wet on there. Is that gas or water?
Water. Check that upper hose. Over here.
Oh, it's oil.
Oh my God.
Turn it off.
Yeah.
Ooh, look at the exhaust. It's definitely burning the stuff that's in there. Oh, this thing's pissing water. It's pouring water, oil, and everything.
Where
in
is
the
it coming
exhaust is
from?
on fire.
Let's look at it. We're not driving it tonight, obviously.
No.
I mean, we got gasket, probably new gasket burns. Plus, where's the water coming from?
Right here. It's coming from the drain.
I don't see anything coming out of there.
Well, I don't know, but there's water down there. You can tell it's right here. Look.
I hope it ain't a freeze plug. Or it's just the radiator itself.
It's got to be the radiator. It's
Oh, no.
from right here.
It could just be the overflow here.
Oh yeah, it probably is.
Well, that's okay. I never seen an oil thing like that before. This thing has like a valve in front of its sender, and it had a line coming off it. I tried to cap it with some random junk, and I didn't cap it good enough, so it's really pouring out of there. I think all the rest of the smoke, what do we got here?
It's a little bit of oil. That could have been there already, though.
Oh, is that a gasket failure?
I'm not sure. There could have. I'm saying there could have already been oil there. I'd spilled some.
Well, definitely got some tweaks to make.
Yeah. It runs great though.
Never warmed up. We gotta seal that oil. I think the float is still a situation. Hopefully this is just exhaust, brand new exhaust manifold gasket smoke.
It's probably the exhaust pipe full of stuff on fire.
Either way, it runs. Some tweaks to make, but it runs.
I'm happy now.
Well, we need that light to unpack. Oh, yeah. Put it over here on the fender.
There's a lot of shit to clean up around here.
Where is...
All we gotta do is make some tweaks.